What began as whispers about locker room tension has now grown into full-blown speculation about control, money, and influence. Because somewhere inside Pacers Entertainment headquarters, behind glass doors and guarded smiles, a meeting allegedly took place, one that could change everything we thought we knew about the Indiana Fever. Reports claim that billionaire owner Steve Simon, head coach Stephanie White, and the top brass sat down to discuss the future. And when a billionaire supposedly utters the words, "This is CCT from here on out, Caitlin Clark's team," that's not just basketball talk. That's a corporate decree. To understand how we got here, you have to start with the family behind the Fever. The Simons aren't just another ownership group. They're Indiana royalty. They own the Pacers, the Fever, and the Simon Property Group, the largest shopping mall empire in America. Herb Simon, the patriarch, built a fortune over decades, and his son, Steve Simon, now carries that legacy. Quiet, shrewd, and deeply strategic, Steve doesn't chase attention, because when you're sitting on billions, you don't need to. You pull strings quietly, from conference rooms where deals are made and careers are rewritten. And according to insiders, when ticket sales dipped, when highlight reels stopped trending, and when Caitlin Clark's once blazing media momentum began to cool, Steve Simon decided it was time to step in. It makes sense, doesn't it? Caitlin Clark wasn't just a draft pick, she was a revolution. Her arrival in the WNBA broke every record imaginable. Games sold out within minutes. Merchandise vanished from stores. Her debut was one of the most watched women's basketball games in modern history. For the first time in years, the Fever weren't just a struggling franchise, they were the heartbeat of the league. Kids across America were wearing number 22. Brands were lining up to plaster her face on their campaigns. The WNBA finally had its golden ticket, and that ticket wore a ponytail and pulled up from 30 feet. But then something changed. The coaching philosophy shifted. The high-flying, fast-paced Logo 3 spectacle that made Caitlin a cultural phenomenon began to disappear. Head coach Stephanie White, a disciplined, old-school tactician, implemented a motion-based offense built on balance and structure. It was efficient basketball, maybe even technically correct basketball. But it wasn't Caitlin Clark basketball. The Fever began winning a few more games, sure, even made the playoffs, but the viral clips stopped coming. The electricity dimmed. Viewership began to slide. And in a sport built on moments that make fans leap out of their seats, that decline meant one thing: money was being lost. That's where, allegedly, Steve Simon decided enough was enough. Reports claim he summoned White and top executives to a private meeting and laid it out in plain terms: the Fever were to become Caitlin Clark's team. Her comfort, her freedom, and her spotlight were to be the organization's top priority. Because when an athlete is single-handedly responsible for tripling your attendance and rewriting your financial projections, you don't argue with success, you double down on it. But not everyone agreed. Insiders say that Stephanie White, proud and protective of her system, didn't take the directive lightly. The alleged tension in that room was palpable, the kind of professional standoff where everyone knows someone's career might be on the line. From the outside, the timing lines up almost too perfectly. After the supposed meeting, fans began noticing an undercurrent of unease. Publicly, White continued to praise her veterans like Kelsey Mitchell, calling her the team's offensive anchor. But behind the scenes, insiders whispered about growing friction between the front office and the coaching staff. Who truly ran the Fever? The coach on the sideline or the billionaire upstairs? Every press conference felt heavier. Every substitution drew more scrutiny. And at the center of it all was Caitlin Clark, a 22-year-old phenom who never asked to be the face of a franchise war. The stakes here are about more than basketball. They're about control. Because in professional sports, when big money meets big personality, the game behind the game begins. And the Simon family didn't build their empire by letting opportunity slip away. To them, Caitlin isn't just a player. She's a brand, an ecosystem, a billion-dollar marketing engine. When her numbers fall, the entire operation feels it. When her momentum slows, corporate partners notice. And that's why the rumored phrase, CCT, Caitlin Clark's team, feels so believable. Because in business, protecting your most valuable asset isn't favoritism. It's strategy. Still, it's impossible to ignore what that means for everyone else in the organization. For players like Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston, who've worked their entire careers to establish themselves, the sudden pivot toward a single superstar could breed resentment. For Stephanie White, whose system was finally producing wins, being told to redesign everything around one player could feel like betrayal. But for the Simon family, it's simple math. The Fever were irrelevant before Caitlyn. Now they're the most talked about team in women's sports. You don't gamble with that kind of magic. You monetize it. None of this has been confirmed publicly. There are no press releases, no leaks, no statements from the organization, but the silence itself speaks volumes. Because when a rumor spreads this widely and no one steps forward to deny it, you start to wonder. You start to see patterns, the sudden shifts in media strategy, the increased promotion of Clark's image, the subtle changes in how the team's official channels market games. Everything points to one conclusion. The Fever are reorganizing their identity, and Caitlyn Clark is at the center of it all. This isn't the first time power and talent have collided in professional sports, but it feels different here. The WNBA has never had a player like Caitlyn Clark, someone whose influence extends far beyond the court, someone who can change the economics of an entire league. The question isn't whether she can handle it. It's whether everyone around her can, because the higher her star rises, the more pressure it puts on the people standing in her shadow. For now, the Fever's future remains in flux. Will Stephanie White bend to ownership's wishes and rebuild her system around Caitlyn's strengths? Or will the organization quietly prepare for a coaching change? Will the veterans accept a supporting role, or will fractures begin to show beneath the surface? One thing's certain, Indiana is no longer just playing basketball. They're playing politics. If this story is true, even partly true, it means Caitlyn Clark has achieved something unprecedented in the WNBA. She hasn't just transformed a team. She's shifted the power dynamic of an entire franchise. A billionaire's empire, a coach's philosophy, and a league's financial future now orbit around her. That kind of influence is rare. That kind of power is historic. And whether you admire it or fear it, there's no denying it. Caitlyn Clark doesn't just play for the Fever anymore. She is the Fever. So what do you think? Has Caitlyn Clark's rise changed the balance of power in Indiana for good? Should a player ever have this much influence over a franchise, or is it simply the cost of stardom in modern sports? Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into the hidden politics shaping the WNBA, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for future stories, and join the discussion below. Because the next chapter in this saga is just beginning. And trust me, it's going to be explosive.